I am actually stepping in for Pam tonight because she's not feeling well, and I'm co-hosting with her guest co-host, Michael. And tonight we welcome award-winning actress, author, writer, producer, comedian, Rain-Pryor. Hi, Rain.
Hello!
How are you tonight?
I'm good. The day is almost over. I'm great.
That is great. Yes, it is almost
Today
over.
Today is a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say I'm so thrilled to have you on the show with us, and I know Pam is really sad that she didn't get to be here with us, but she is here behind the curtains, as you could say, like Oz. So she is here in spirit. So I have been hearing a lot about this wonderful play of yours, and it actually is making my mouth water, just the title of it. Fried-chicken-and-latkes. They do sound like they go really well together.
Right? Hello, potato pancake and some chicken. You can't go wrong.
Exactly. Tell us again, what are latkes for those that don't know? I actually do know what they are, but
it's a potato pancake. It's a potato pancake. The Jews just call them latkes.
Yeah. Very good stuff.
Yeah.
So I know that one of the songs you sang during your rehearsal was His Eyes Are on the Sparrow.
Yes.
Does this song have a significant meaning for you? And you do have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. No, it doesn't. What it has for me is the character, which is funny because in the rehearsal you see the character that actually sings the song, but the character who sings the song, I'm a church lady, and so for me it has significance in that I think it represents so many of the Baptist kind of churches. The whole congregation sings along, and it has that feel to it. And so for the sequence and the place that it is within the show, I think it was the song to me that would fit very well and be able to kind of tell what it is that I want to say, and that's kind of why I picked it, but not because it had any significance in my life other than watching Sister Act 2, I think it was.
Underrated
movie.
Film. Very underrated film.
Right?
Yes, very good movie.
Lauren Hill was fantastic. Oh, no, maybe that was Sister Act. No, so many.
Yeah. Now, did you take singing lessons, or did it come naturally?
I actually studied opera.
Oh, wow.
When I was 13, because that was the route, more classical, sort of was the route that I was going in. And then I think in the era that I grew up in, which sort of fits also my show, that there weren't a lot of, we didn't have a lot of black or people of color singing opera, and sort of the pop route is the area in which you went into, or the R&B route, and I don't sing R&B necessarily, so the pop route and the pop rock route is kind of what opened itself up to me and appealed to me. And plus, I used to play piano at that age, so definitely the pop and the more singer-songwriter feel is the area that I ended up venturing into. But I think the study of opera kind of opened me up to be able to sing almost any kind of music because of the range in which you sing in and the notes that you have to follow and the languages, and, it kind of opens you up kind of culturally to music.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. I didn't realize that. That is wonderful. You definitely do have a really beautiful singing voice. Very talented.
Oh, thank you.
What is it with your play that you want your audience to take away from your show?
A change of perception, and maybe how they think about race and think about the world in which they live in and how they want to make it different. It's a lot. I talk about growing up being black and Jewish, in the late 60s and the part of the 70s and the 80s, and I just want them to walk away with a sense of, we still have an issue of race in this country that we have to deal with. And I think now the show is more prevalent than when I first started it 10 years ago, for the fact that we have a black president and race is kind of on the surface. It's something that we're having to face. Like, no one wants to say the N-word, but yet we find every other way to call our president the N-word. So the show kind of, confronts issues and makes us kind of take a look at ourselves and our place within those issues, whether you're black or, Jewish or white or whatever you are. I think people, definitely in this world now, we have so many mixed races of people, and I think you kind of walk away with, a sense of, do I think that way? Do I need to change it? How can I be a force to change something? And then also the fact that everyone has a story, to tell.
I think that's really unique, Rain. You actually are able to connect generations together with what you're doing as well, because you hit on common themes with racism or what they be religious differences. Not that being Jewish or non-Jewish is a difference, but for some people it is. I think it's really interesting, because I think a lot of work today, and however long art has existed, it's been very relevant for its time, but there aren't a lot of pieces that are relevant for multiple time periods, especially when things have happened prior. So you really open up society to sort of reach out to not just itself in terms of generations reaching out to one another, but actually multiple generations reaching out.
Absolutely.
Is that an intended purpose or sort of a byproduct of the process?
I think it was a byproduct. I mean, to tell you the truth, when I first wrote the show, I thought I wrote a drama. I thought my life was just really dramatic in the way that I grew up, and, my dad is and whatever, and it turned out it was a comedy. And that kind of hit on some issues. And then over the years, and I think because of the change in climate politically and racially, I was able then to tap a little deeper into those aspects of my life, as well as bring my dad into it. So what's interesting, when you say generation, the first thing I thought of are the people who grew up on my dad and listening to his stand-up. Mm-hmm. And they're brought back to who that man was during the 70s. And then the new audience that might not be aware of who Richard Pryor was is introduced to Richard Pryor. And so that's interesting, and what some of his views were and what I saw growing up, which ends up not being the celebrity child per se, but more of, at times the absentee father and the father who then tried to be a dad at moments. Because I do, my dad, I got in trouble for trying to sneak out of the house. So I do this whole segment on that in my show, and it's just funny that people relate to him as a parent. So it
sort of shows that different side of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So you relate to the growing up with, these everyone thinks their family's crazy. Everyone.
Right.
Even the normal guy, he'll say, I grew up with a great, like a friend of ours the other night was like, I grew up in a great family. My parents were great, but yet it's great because I live, 6,000 miles away from them. So everyone has it.
No, and I think what you say is really correct, because I can tell you that I was listening to your father, and I'm 33, so I was in middle school listening to your father, and
wow.
For a young white kid in suburbia listening to Richard Pryor, it could definitely set some people looking at me a little bit funny, and it was great because, and I realize it more now listening to him, is I don't know if it was as funny as if it was just so honest and insightful that people
right.
didn't think anybody would be that honest, and
right.
It is a young person, and I'm curious, just you grew up in it. I mean, that's empowering in a lot of ways, because I think in society you have so many people saying you can't, or this is the way it is, this system exists this way, and he stands out as such an example of not being a part of the system but still being very successful.
And what's really funny about what you're saying is I feel that the world of stand-up has gotten so politically correct that we're afraid to talk about things and kind of those truths. We keep on the safe path. Like political humor kind of has its place and it's political, but it never kind of goes to the real edge of what that era of comedians had talked about. There's no one that's really talking about what Carlin talked about or talking about what my dad talked about. And, you know, I find for myself, because I do stand up as well, you know, I am the storyteller, and I am bringing my truth to it, and I have friends who are around me who are also, you know, taking that leap of faith to kind of bring that generation of comedy stand-up back, you know, to say that I have something that needs to be said, and I'm not afraid to go to that edge and bring you back. You know, because that's what made us laugh when we were late. It's like people in a 12-step meeting. You know, you talk about your tragedy and your pain. You have a group of alcoholics going, that was hilarious when you crashed your car and wrapped it around a pole. I remember that. You know?
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Oh, man. So do you actually feel like you've become stronger and understand more about your life by doing this show, or is it a day-to-day issue that you still have to deal with?
You know, I think where I'm strong is knowing exactly pretty much who I am. You know, I think over the last 10 years, I mean, I've grown up. I'm 43 years old now. So, you know, if I started when I was 33, you know, here I am at 43, and life has changed, and it's different, and I'm more of who I am now, you know. And so the story I'm telling, you know, I think I have less of an attachment to it, and more it's become an evolution, and I need to just keep telling the story, because these are the issues that we need to kind of go to the edge and bring it back again.
Right. That is fantastic
now.
What you're doing with your show. So where do you go inside to bring out these characters, all your characters in your show?
My multi-personalities. You know, first of all, I'm a people watcher. I really love watching people. You know, I love going to the parks and walking down the street and eating outside or staring out of windows and studying behavior. You know, I think that's why I wanted to be a psychologist at one time and really thought about it. And I did. I actually became a counselor for many, many years, and I don't mean camp counselor. So,
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with camp counselor.
Right.
And, you know, the study, though, of human behavior. And so I think acting is just, you know, it's truth. It's bringing those people to life. And when you're a person that can show empathy and you can have feeling, then you really know how to take these characters and bring them to.
Rain?
Yeah. Hello?
Oh, sorry. I thought
did I lose you?
got dropped.
Uh-oh.
I didn't hear you for a minute. I can hear you now.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I thought you'd gotten cut off. Blog Talk has that reputation, you know. Technology, you know.
Yeah, I do.
You span through decades in your show. Do you have people of all ages in your audience?
All ages above 18, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of language in my show that I would deem unsuitable for youngsters.
Okay.
Although they listen to it, you know, in school, but your parents aren't supposed to know that.
Right.
But you also have a reason for why you would incorporate it in your show as well. It's probably also part of that process of why the show is so impactful as well.
It is, and it's not, you know, I don't just use words for the sake of using them because I have nothing else to say. I mean, it is a generation, and I am talking about my family, and that is the way that some of them spoke, you know. So the language definitely is more about the punctuation, which was